The functions of a central bank in a developing economy can no longer be restricted to just the maintenance of monetary and price stability. It must of necessity be involved in the development and sustenance of a vibrant real sector, as this is necessary to the efficiency of its monetary policy tools.
In an economy that is growing, where you want to really achieve growth, you will find that institutions like central bank, development finance institutions, as well as deposit money banks that primarily act as financial catalysts have to take on some of these responsibilities to achieve growth and development in the country.
In view of this, the Central Bank of Nigeria is involved in developmental initiatives geared towards transformation of the economy. These initiatives, spearheaded by the Development Finance Department, are mainly targeted at the agriculture, manufacturing, and the micro, small, and medium enterprises subsector.
Right now, some of the major problems of manufacturing include capital and, of course, power.
Lending was about 20-something%. Sadly, today it's still 20-something% as well. The commercial banks is in our neck. And the way they are pushing, the fact they are nearly closed down.
Our sector was new. Commercial banks were very drawn back. They didn't understand the business. This is a long-term funding business.
There was obvious problem in terms of employment generation and industrial capacity of this country.
Manufacturing is supposed to contribute about maybe 10 to 20 to 30% of our GDP. We're still very low, at about 4-6%.
Agricultural activities are not easy to come by. They are cumbersome, and you require a lot of capital to effectively the production of cane.
If the manufacturing sector is not up and doing, Nigeria will be employing other people in other countries. People will manufacture and bring into Nigeria. That means you're paying laborers, you are paying workers in other countries to come and sell in Nigeria.
The involvement of the CBN in the area of agriculture started with the Financing of Commodities Board. The 37-year-old Agriculture Credit Guarantee Scheme, ACGS, to the more recent Commercial Agriculture Credit Scheme, CACS, and finally, the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agriculture Lending, NIRSAL. These initiatives were introduced to encourage banks to lend to agriculture and increase the production of raw materials for manufacturing, create employment, increase food supply, and reduce the pressure on the country's foreign exchange while enhancing national food security. ACGS, established in 1977 to provide a guarantee for agricultural lending of commercial banks. The scheme is managed by the CBN under a board. Commercial Agriculture Credit Scheme, CACS. The scheme was established in 2009 to finance large-ticket projects along the agricultural value chain. It is administered at a single interest rate of 9% to beneficiaries. State governments can access a maximum of 1 billion naira for on-lending to farmer cooperatives of other areas of the agricultural intervention. This has led to increase in capacity utilization of the projects funded by CACS, ranging from 35% to 95%. CACS is wholly dedicated to commercial agriculture, and it finances the agricultural value chain, from input supply to marketing.
We got 2 billion naira from Central Bank as an agreed loan. We utilized this mainly for the growing of cane, for the purchase of equipments for land development, cane growing mainly.
The mother of all intervention is Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme. It has helped to boost our business. We were able to establish a new feed mill in Asaba. With the scheme, we have expanded our operation in Kano and also at Ogiri here in Ogun State.
In 2009, we approached the CBN for the CACS loan. Why did we need the CACS loan? We were pursuing an aggressive expansion program, and we needed to match our plantation expansion with mill expansion to cope with the processing of the fruits that will come from the plantation.
On the second intervention, that was 10 years and fixed interest rate of about 7% through BOI, we were able to refinance the expensive interest we have from local banks and also use it to get our third line. Okay? And this is how we were able to move from about 500 staff to this 1,750 I described to you.
The CACS loan provided an opportunity for a single-digit loan, and so we were able to get 2 billion naira from the CBN in 2010, out of which we have now been able to expand our operations. As at 2010, when we got the facility, our land holding, total land holding was about 16,000 hectares. Today, we are a total of about 36,000 hectares.
NERSAL is a non-bank financial institution developed in 2010 as a de-risking mechanism to unlock the resources of commercial banks for agriculture value chain financing. It is targeted at raising the level of bank lending to the agricultural sector by 10% in 2017.
Though we are producing it in a small quantity, we are just a traditional farmers that is producing a small quantity of maize. So by the project coming now, we have extended it, as you see, to a larger production capacity.
The various agricultural development policies of the CBN are aimed at making agriculture a real business increase in food supply, creation of jobs, and supply of raw materials to the industrial sector, while serving as a vehicle for wealth creation and prosperity for all. The central bank, in its bid to grow the Nigerian economy in a robust manner, has gone beyond developing initiatives on the agricultural sector. Another sector that has benefited from the CBN's policies is the small and medium enterprise and manufacturing sector. All over the world, SMEs are recognized as the rock of the economy. They are the highest employers of workforce in the labor market. But in Nigeria, SMEs have not been able to effectively play their role due to lack of access to favorable bank credit. In a bid to reverse this trend and bring about a change within the SME and manufacturing sector, the central bank established a 200 billion naira loan restructuring / refinancing facility, SMERF, targeted at manufacturers. The facility aims to refinance and restructure existing bank loans portfolios to eligible manufacturers at 7% interest inclusive of all charges. The objective of this intervention is to fast-track the development of the manufacturing sector by providing access to credit to manufacturers while increasing productivity and generating employment. The fund has provided credit to over 573 projects across the manufacturing sector, covering industrial and chemical, food and beverage, textile, pharmaceutical, hospitality and tourism.
The intervention fund helps us to hold the factory. That's why we are still developing and upgrading our factory.
When we first started, we had just a small machinery, but with the intervention fund, we were able to acquire 2 additional lines that increase the capacity fourfold in our food factory.
Well, the fund was very useful to us in terms of working capital.
If not for that intervention, I'm sure we should have been in trouble by now, if we are still existing. Our capacity utilization increased. Then, of course, we employed more people from about 2,000 plus to about 3,000 plus, almost extra 1,000 plus staff were employed.
Another development initiative targeted at the small and medium enterprise by the CBN is the 200 billion naira Small and Medium Enterprises Credit Guarantee Scheme. The objectives of the scheme, which was established in 2010, is to, amongst other things, fast-track the development of the small and medium enterprises by providing 80% guarantee on credit by banks to the sector. One of the key challenges that needs to be addressed in the country's efforts to become the economic hub of Africa by the year 2020 is skilled manpower. The CBN, in its bid to encourage growth and development of a robust economy, decided not to limit its initiatives to agriculture, manufacturing, SMEs and infrastructure, but also supported the establishment of Entrepreneurship Development Centers, EDCs, for skills acquisition.
We have trained over 3,000 people on this project. And it will interest you to know that the interest is waxing stronger by every passing minute.
Starting from 2007, the CBN promoted the establishment of private sector-led entrepreneurship development centers in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
This project is an 18-month intervention, and it's targeted at aspiring entrepreneurs, those who desire to run an enterprise. At the same time, they also target existing business owners. And in this period of 18 months, when they come in contact with the EDC, we support them to understand the concept of entrepreneurship and how to manage businesses. They also go for internship, where they have real-life experiences of what it takes to manage such business before we assist them to get market finance, to get markets or finance that will also help them to start their own business.
These centers are expected to develop entrepreneurial skills among Nigerian youths for the purpose of reducing unemployment and production of goods and services. The Power and Airlines Intervention Fund, PIFE, was introduced in 2010 to motivate and stimulate private sector investment in infrastructure development, while fast-tracking development in the power and airline subsectors. The fund was to, amongst other things, ensure increase in supply of energy to the manufacturing sector to increase productivity, job creation, poverty reduction, and compete globally.
Under the Power and Aviation Intervention Fund, the Bank of Industry was appointed as the managing agent to manage the day-to-day activities relating to the disbursement under the fund. You recall that the African Finance Corporation was also appointed as the technical advisor. Okay, so the way it goes is that the participating banks apply on behalf of their customers, to the Bank of Industry. Bank of Industry evaluates the package in terms of completeness of the documentation. We pass it over to the technical advisors, AFC, who will then assess, the technical quality of the proposal. Once they're okay with that, they come back to Bank of Industry, and then we recommend to Central Bank of Nigeria for disbursement.
The First Nation relaunched in 2011, basically, and it was part of our team where some of the old Bellevue team. And what has happened, that relaunch would not have been possible without the CBN intervention.
Without the Power Intervention Fund, we may not be able to really start production because of the experience and challenges with, the national electricity supply.
The challenges are still there. The cost of funds is still a major challenge, okay? But in all honesty, this government has been extremely supportive of this industry, and I think it's unappreciative of the government, not only of our industry. CBN have supported the bank as well. The banking industry would have collapsed totally without CBN coming in to save the banks that were distressed. The industry would have collapsed totally as well without textiles. So across the sector.
It's actually a good way of promoting small-scale industries, which I think if they continue with this, the small-scale industry will grow, which ultimately will impact on the GDP of the country.
We plan to expand into the West Coast and go international in 2015. We're increasing the fleet. Market acceptance has been quite positive. It's a very competitive market.
CBN has been able to support this business. If not, maybe we will not be able to meet our financial obligation to our lenders. But because CBN actually came in, we were able to repay back the most expensive, the expensive debt
to the commercial bank, and then we took on cheaper fund of a longer time, and since then, this company has been floating and has been doing very well.
The 29 power projects have been able to generate 847.4 megawatts of electricity, of which 440.1 megawatts was principally utilized by the companies for stable power for their manufacturing needs, while the balance was released to the national grid. The level of intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria is massive as it touches every sector of the economy, from agriculture to SMEs, infrastructure, and capacity development. The successes recorded by the intervention policy has cumulatively led to the creation of 2 million jobs and the provision of more than 1 trillion naira investment to various aspects of the economy. The Central Bank of Nigeria is poised to do more as it continues the task of formulating development finance, policies and initiatives aimed at making the Nigerian economy a model to follow.